Hello and welcome back to Halton Warren OO9. In this video I'm going to explore DCC and whether I can use it on my layout or not. Hi, I'm Mark, welcome to Halton Warren OO9. When I first set up my layout, it was definitely going to be analog. I had heard of DCC, I didn't know anything about it. Computers are not my thing, and digital controls or anything like that. I was about 17 at college when I first saw a computer in the flesh. And then when I went to work, we didn't start using computers to the 1980s. And then they were fairly basic. So although I'm au fait with computers now, I use them a lot at work and I use them at home. Computers, digital stuff, programming, software, I just don't know enough about it. So DCC for running my railway was not really an option, and I didn't really think much about it. My railway is two boards, or started out as being two boards, one with a station on it, the other board having an engineering works and a fiddle yard on it. All I wanted was an analog control, possibly two controllers, one to operate each part of the railway. So I looked online to start looking to see what controllers were available, how much they were, what were the best ones that I needed for what I wanted to do, which was a fairly basic operation. Now, a lot of the sites I went on, not only did they sell the analog controllers, but of course they sold DCC equipment. And one of the things that I spotted was the NCE power cab, and it looked quite interesting. And from the descriptions I read, I thought I'm going to find out a bit more about this. So back onto the old YouTube, have a look, see what people used it for, how it worked. The basics seem quite easy. It's obviously an entry-level DCC system, but it can be expanded. So I thought about it and I thought, yeah, I could do that, but what do I need for train-wise and how do I set up my track? So track was okay, a few dropper wires connected to the little unit that the NCE power cab plugs into. Locos, well, this was a new railway, so I've got no rolling stock at all. Money was a little bit tight, so I was looking at making kits and on Kato chassis as well. So I thought, well, Kato chassis, do they do a DCC one? Well, I looked around and the ones I wanted weren't, they were just analog. So again, I tried the old internet and realised how simple it was really to put a chip onto a Kato chassis. So I took the plunge. I bought an NCE power cab. I got my chassis, I got some chips from my local model railway shop, followed the tutorials on the internet, and yeah, it all worked. I was quite impressed. My soldering's not the best, but I managed to get the little wires soldered together, put it all on the track, followed the instructions on how to set up your chip with giving it a new code, and that was it. I was away with it. Now, that's all I wanted it to do. I only wanted to control the trains with it. I wanted to be able to run two trains on one track, and I wanted to have one train running one way on one bit of track and a train on the other one going the opposite direction, things like that, the basic stuff. What I didn't want to do, and what I wasn't sure about anyway, was DCC control of points and of signals in the future. So what I did was I built a mimic board, loads of switches. I wanted to operate it a bit like a signal box. Which I did. I built it and I had switched the switches, the points changed, little LED came on the mimic panel to say which way the train was going to run. The only problem was it was huge. The box I made must have been about 2'6" by 2'6" and about 9–10 inches deep. Now, from the last video you would have seen that my railway's in the shed and there's not a lot of room down there, and a box that size just was not going to fit. So I had to scrap that idea, and the alternative would have been to put little control panels all the way around, but the walkway in the shed is quite narrow and I didn't want to keep catching myself on it. So I thought, let's take a look, see what other people do, and so I went back online, looked at a few videos, And I came across one that a chap, and I can't remember which one it was now, was using a DigiKeys DR4018. That seemed fairly straightforward. Connect it to your bus wires, then run your the points directly to it, assign an ID number to the points, and away you go. So I bought one unit, set it up, and it worked. Brilliant. Must be the first time something like that's happened, first time for me. Anyway, it worked well, so I bought another 3 units, set them up, and they all continue to work, and I got all my points working that way. So that was it for me for DCC. I thought, that's it, I can't do any more. I'm not into all this setting up routes and stuff like that. It's too complicated. I didn't really understand what was happening. But one of the things I did do, and was to start getting interested into the different model railway videos and channels that are on YouTube. And one I started watching and really got into was McKinley, which is so well known, and the setup there is so big, and all DCC, automated running, and I was just blown away by what they could do with it. But as I said, I'm not really into computers and stuff, so I wasn't sure, that I would be able to take that on, or what to do with it. No experience, no understanding really of how the system works. Now that went on for quite a while, and I've been building the railway since, and the DCC with the automated running has been at the back of my mind, and it's kind of there like a little nag, but not that, when was it, about October 2019, somewhere around then. McKinley came out with a basic block detection explain type of video. I think it was their video number 32, and they had a layout there, and it was all coloured up to show the different blocks, and I thought, this is good. I now know how it works, the way it's all split up into sections, and my interest was pricked again until they got onto the hardware and the software and setting up schedules. And I thought, nah, this is not for me. I'm not going to be able to stand this. I'm not going to be able to forward this along. The other issue I had was they were saying about these sections, block sections within the railway, within the track, and my track's already laid, and of course there's no block sections in there. Now a bit later on, and I think it was sometime last year, Charlie Bishop came out with a video, and that was about introducing its block detection on Chadwick, and I think it was about, if I remember rightly, it was a video number 137. Now Charlie has got a really good way of basically explaining things, and I find him very easy to understand. And again, it's just built that nag up all the time with me, and I'm thinking, this is it, this is what I want to do, this is what I would like to achieve. But it's just that thing again, that all my track was pre-laid. There's no sections in it. Did I want to lift the track? Did I understand enough of it to guarantee that once I bought the equipment, that I would be able to set it up and get it running? And the thought of digging up that track, cutting out the sections, the little gaps, and then putting it all back down again, I still wasn't sure on it. Anyway, come up to date now, and then as explained in my last video, I need to rearrange the track on my layout, the original part of the layout. The station, the tracks are too close together, so I want to relay those and redesign that so it's a lot easier and a bit more straightforward, not so many points. The other board, I need to take the track up where the fiddle yard is, because that's now going to connect to a helix. And while that's going on, I'm going to need to take up the track that's in the engineering yard area, because again I need access for the helix to go in. And I thought, hang on a moment, if I'm taking up all my track, this is the ideal opportunity to relay it with sections included, so that if I want to do DCC, the track part is already done. So I thought about it a bit more, and I thought, I'm going to watch those videos from Charlie and from McKinley, and I did. And I'm thinking that maybe it's not so bad as I thought. There's still a bit of a brick wall there for me, because I I still don't understand how everything works, and connecting stuff up and making sure it works properly, and then you've got to program it and go in, and I'm thinking, yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, no. Anyway, it's at the back of my mind. I thought, I'm going to lay the track, I'm going to have sections in it, and then what I'll do is I will try and find out a bit more about it. Now, that video that Charlie did was quite good, because not only did he explain all the blocks again and everything like that, but towards the end he covered software, and there was 3 programs he came up with. The first one was JMRI, which he said was free, which I like, but he also said that it was quite a learning curve to get to grips with it, if I remember his words correctly. I'm a visual learner, so to actually try and read and understand and follow just bits and pieces is not going to be easy, and I'm thinking I'm going to struggle with this and I might not get anywhere. So the other programs he suggested was iTrains, and the other one was the one that he uses, which is Train Controller. But then he started going into the cost of Train Controller, and I thought that's well outside my pocket. I can't afford that sort of money. iTrains, though, it's a bit of a stretch, but it might be, and probably will be, something that I could fork out for. So I'm thinking I could actually get this DCC thing sorted out. But what I need to do is find out more about iTrains, find out how it works, how I connect it up, how I get hold of it and download it, how I make my trains work. And I'm thinking, this is a lot to ask. Am I going to find sufficient YouTube videos that I can watch that's going to explain it in the detail I need to actually get me up and running? I would so much like to do that. Anyway, homework time. So I've gone onto YouTube, I've started looking around different sites, I've put in iTrains, and eventually I came across a chap called Bob Fuller. Now, Bob Fuller has done a whole series of videos on iTrains. He started off with the basics, how to get it, what different levels there are of it, how to download it, and he has built that up slowly, bit by bit, right up to a bit more advanced stuff now, and he's now on video 56. So as I say, there's quite a series of these. Now, the other thing I like about Bob Fuller's videos is that, as I said earlier, I'm using DigiKeys DR4018 for my point changing. Now, Bob is using DigiKeys for his railway as well. So he's using the, I think it's DR5000 and DR4088 for the detection and the control, and then just connecting his computer up to that with iTrains running. Wow, there is a man there who has basically changed my whole opinion on whether I can do DCC or not, and I'm going to do it. I'm quite excited about what DCC can do. I've expanded my railway. I've got that branch line that runs off the back, and I'm going to have all the sidings underneath, and I am quite excited about letting trains run on their own while I potter around and get the scenery done. And so that's what I'm going to do. So that's it. That's my where I am at the moment. This DCC's got me quite excited, as I explained. It's supposed to be a series of videos about model railway building, and there's not been much building at the moment, but I have started to do the baseboards. From hopefully just behind me you might see that I've started to do the droppers on the track. So within the next week or so, hopefully I'll start getting the fiddle yard built and the helix, and then we can get the rest of the track laid and get some trains running. I've then got to buy the iTrain program and get that set up. Father Christmas was quite generous this year, so I've got some money to spend at my local model railway shop, and I can get my DigiKeys DR5000 and 0488s. So I'll leave it there for now. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.